Maria was a migrant worker far from home, having left behind her family and everything familiar in search of a better life. The journey to the United States was not easy, and she faced many challenges along the way: language barriers, cultural differences, and the constant ache of homesickness. Yet, Maria persevered, driven by hope and the promise of opportunity. In the 1970s, her path led her to Seattle, where she was hospitalized at Harborview Medical Center, a sprawling institution known for treating the city's most vulnerable patients. Maria suffered from a serious heart condition that left her weak and uncertain about her future. She spoke little English, which made it difficult to communicate her fears and needs to the busy hospital staff. Surrounded by unfamiliar faces and sounds, she often felt invisible, her voice lost in the shuffle of daily routines. Her days were filled with a mix of anxiety about her health and the unknown, and hope that she might recover and one day return home. Each morning, she would gaze out the hospital window, searching for comfort in the distant city skyline. Despite her quiet demeanor, Maria was known among her staff for her resilience. She rarely complained, even as her condition worsened. No one, not even the most experienced doctors or nurses, could have predicted the extraordinary experience she was about to undergo. At the time, I was a social worker at Harborview, dedicated to helping patients and their families navigate the emotional and practical challenges of illness. My days were spent listening, comforting, and advocating for those who needed us. Maria's case would soon become unforgettable, not just because of the severity of her illness, but because of what she would later report during her medical crisis. Her experience would leave a lasting impression. Maria described her story would spark conversations among doctors, nurses, and social workers, raising questions that science still struggles to answer. Maria suffered the emergency response team rushed her to the intensive care unit, where every second was the critical care unit was a place where despair coexisted with touching the lives of everyone, inspiring questions about the mysteries of the human mind and spirit. One seemingly ordinary day, Maria's fragile condition took a sudden and dramatic turn for the worse. She suffered a cardiac arrest, an event that would change her life forever. In an instant, her heart stopped beating, and the vital flow of blood to her brain and organs came to a halt. The monitors in her hospital room flatlined, signaling the gravity of the situation. Alarms blared urgently, echoing through the corridors as doctors and nurses raced to her bedside, launching into a coordinated and frantic resuscitation effort. The medical team began chest compressions, artificial respiration, and prepared the defibrillator. Each action a desperate attempt to restart her heart and restore life. During these critical, harrowing minutes, Maria was clinically unconscious. Her body lay completely lifeless and unresponsive, showing no signs of awareness or movement. The medical team's focus narrowed to a single goal: reviving Maria. In those moments, nothing else existed for them but the fight to bring her back. Yet, while her body remained motionless and still, something remarkable was happening beyond the reach of medical science. Maria would later claim that her consciousness did not end when her heart stopped. Instead, she described a vivid awareness, as if she had awakened in another realm. According to Maria, her consciousness embarked on a journey, one that would become a landmark case in the study of near-death experiences and the mysteries of human awareness. The chaos and urgency of the resuscitation were only the beginning of a story that would challenge our understanding of life and death. Maria's detailed account would soon provide one of the most compelling and debated pieces of evidence in the ongoing scientific exploration of consciousness beyond clinical death. Her heart had stopped, but for Maria, and for those who had studied her case, her extraordinary story was only just beginning. While doctors fought to revive her, Maria described a vivid out-of-body experience. She felt herself float above her hospital bed, watching the medical team work on her lifeless body. Then, her awareness drifted beyond the room. She found herself outside the hospital walls. Maria described moving effortlessly through solid structures, perceiving the world from a new vantage point. She was bewildered by the clarity and realism of the experience. Maria, with no prior knowledge of such phenomena, insisted it was more real than a dream. She reported seeing specific details outside the hospital, details she could not have known. This out-of-body journey became the pivotal part of her story. It was not just a feeling. She described concrete, verifiable observations. What she saw next would challenge everything we thought we knew about consciousness. During her out-of-body journey, Maria noticed a single tennis shoe on a third-floor window ledge outside the hospital. The shoe was old, well-worn, and described in detail, a worn-through toe and a shoelace tucked under the heel. The ledge was inaccessible and invisible from any patient area, including Maria's room. She could not have seen it before her cardiac arrest. The specificity of her description was striking, details unlikely to be guessed. Maria's observation was not vague, it was precise and concrete. If the shoe existed as she described, it would be powerful evidence of veridical perception during her near-death experience. The challenge was clear. Could her claim be verified? The search for the shoe began. As a social worker at Harborview, I often heard unusual stories, but Maria's account stood out. She hesitantly shared her experience, floating above her body, seeing the resuscitation, and spotting the tennis shoe. The detail about the shoe was different from typical NDE stories. It was potentially verifiable. My curiosity was piqued, both as a professional and as someone interested in the mysteries of consciousness. I decided to investigate Maria's claim, not as a formal study, but as a personal quest. I listened carefully, determined to see if the physical world matched her extraordinary story. My role shifted from support to investigator, driven by the possibility of confirming something remarkable. The search for the truth began in earnest. Armed with Maria's description, I set out to find the tennis shoe. Harborview is a sprawling hospital, and locating a specific third-floor ledge was no easy task. Maria couldn't point to the window. Her room offered no view of the ledge. I walked the hospital's exterior, scanning the third-floor windows from the ground. The ledges were high, narrow, and difficult to see. I tried various vantage points inside, but none revealed the shoe. The search became a process of elimination, persistence, and a bit of luck. I finally found an office window that might offer the right angle. The anticipation grew. What if Maria was right? I pressed myself against the glass, searching for any sign of the shoe. What I discovered would change everything. There it was, a single old men's tennis shoe, exactly as Maria described, resting on the narrow ledge. The sight was both ordinary and extraordinary, a simple object transformed by the mystery surrounding it. The shoe looked as if it had been forgotten by time, untouched and unnoticed by anyone passing below. The worn toe, the tucked shoelace, every detail matched her account. Even the faded color and the scuffed rubber sole were exactly as she had described, down to the smallest mark. It was as if Maria had held the shoe in her hands, not merely seen it from afar. The shoe was not visible from Maria's room or any common area. The ledge was hidden from nearly every angle, shielded by the building's architecture and the placement of the windows. No patient, visitor, or staff member would have noticed it unless they were searching from a very specific vantage point. Only from this specific office window could it be seen. The window was rarely used, tucked away at the end of a quiet corridor, and the ledge itself was narrow and precarious. It was almost as if the shoe had been placed there for a purpose, waiting to be discovered by the right person at the right time. Maria had never been in this room, nor could she have glimpsed the shoe before her cardiac arrest. There was no way for her to have known about it through ordinary means. No chance encounter, no passing glance, no whispered conversation. The discovery was stunning, tangible evidence supporting her out-of-body perception. It was a moment that sent chills down my spine, as if reality itself had shifted to accommodate something inexplicable. This was not a vague vision, but a concrete, verifiable fact. The shoe was real, its presence undeniable, and its details matched Maria's description with uncanny precision. The implications were profound. Maria's consciousness seemed to operate independently of her physical body. It raised questions about the nature of awareness, perception, and the boundaries of human experience. The shoe became a symbol, a mundane object with extraordinary significance. It was a silent witness to something that defied explanation, a bridge between the known and the unknown. For me, it was a pivotal moment. The boundaries of what was shifted. The mysteries of consciousness felt deeper than I had ever imagined. Maria's story became a landmark in near-death experience research, thanks to the verifiable detail of the tennis shoe. Most NDEs are subjective, but Maria's case offered objective evidence. She saw something she could not have known. Researchers highlighted her case as a rare example of veridical perception during an NDE. The shoe challenged skeptical explanations that NDEs are mere hallucinations. Maria's experience suggested consciousness might function separately from the brain. The confirmed details, the worn toe, the tucked shoelace, added credibility. Her story inspired more rigorous investigation into the mysteries of consciousness. Maria's testimony, backed by evidence, continues to shape the field. Decades later, Maria's story still resonates worldwide. Its power lies in its simplicity and the verifiable detail of the tennis shoe. For those who've had NDEs, her account offers validation and hope. For researchers, it remains a cornerstone case, suggesting consciousness can perceive beyond the body. The tennis shoe is a symbol, an ordinary object with extraordinary implications. Maria's story encourages open-minded inquiry and offers comfort to those facing death or loss. It bridges the mystical and the verifiable, grounding an extraordinary claim in a checkable fact. Maria, the quiet migrant worker, left an indelible mark on the study of near-death experiences. Her story continues to inspire awe, curiosity, and reflection on the mysteries of life and consciousness.